Welcome back, everybody, to Spreadzies here on the Parlay. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, alongside my co-host, Jelani Reid, and we are back with the AFC and NFC Championship game. We are going to give you our picks, but to quickly recap and go back to the greatest weekend of playoff football we had ever seen, it was a pretty good weekend for me. I went 4-0, and my overall record is now 7-3. So for the first time, I think all year, I'm actually leading Jelani when it comes to records. The one game Jelani got wrong was the Packers. He laid the points there.
Yep.
And honestly, man, it was looking like that was going to come in. But then the 49ers special teams made the play of the game. And that allowed the Niners to not only cover, but they won that game outright. That was by far the most shocking result from the divisional round weekend. The Bengals, I know, had a nice upset against the Titans. But that was the game that I don't think a lot of people had coming, seeing the Niners beat the Packers to advance to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, no, for me, I was just looking at the fact that they were at home. You're looking at Lambeau Field. They're used to the weather. You're playing a team from California who's not really, prone to playing in this type of weather. And they came in there and look, Jimmy Garoppolo, I like him. I don't get the hate. I actually do like him as a QB. I know he's not the best quarterback in the league, but he made the throws, down the stretch that made the difference. And he managed the game. He did have an early interception in the first half, but when it mattered most, when he needed to find Kittle or guys like Debo, it worked out. And the running game, they used that also with Mitchell, of course. So, yeah, they went in Lambeau and won that game. And you're just saying to yourself, this was the year for the Packers. That's what I thought, right? That's what I felt. This was the time for Aaron Rodgers to get back to the Super Bowl. It's been forever. And just for them not even to reach the conference championship game, I think that's very upsetting, especially if you're a Green Bay fan, because it was all set up for you. You had the best team in football all year long. And yeah, that's how it ended. But the other games were also crazy. I think it was definitely the best weekend I've ever watched of football, because you could talk about the Rams game. The Rams, they almost gave it up. We almost saw the 2016 Super Bowl all over again, where Tom Brady just comes back. It seems it's 27-3. I thought that game was over. And if that went to overtime, who knows? Coin flip could have decided things. And speaking of a coin flip, we're talking about Kansas City. That game was wild as well. And that was definitely one of the better quarterback duels we've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. I didn't want any of them to lose that game, so I feel so bad for the Bills. But we'll see how it goes this week. We have 2 good games, 4 good teams. So, yeah, let's get to our picks, man.
Yeah, 3 games decided by a last-second field goal, and then 1 game decided in overtime. I wish they had the college overtime rules, because that game probably would have gone on until, 1 a.m. of both quarterbacks going back and forth. But, yeah, let's get into our picks, man. It's going to be a good weekend or Sunday of football. It's almost coming to an end, so we got to embrace it while it's here.
Yep.
First game, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Can they get it done again? They're going to be taking on the Chiefs. The Chiefs, a touchdown favorite. These 2 teams met a couple weeks ago. That game was in Cincy, and the Bengals won. So will they win again, or do you got the Chiefs?
Well, outright, I think that the Chiefs are going to win this game, but I'm going to go with the Bengals in terms of the spread. I think it's going to be a close game, similarly to what we saw on the weekend when the Buffalo Bills went into Arrowhead. We thought, leading up to the game, it was going to be high score, a lot of points, and I think that's what's going to happen here, because both defenses, look, the Chiefs, I mean, that was just terrible. Let's just be honest. Their defense did not show up, especially that secondary. And that's also due to the injury to Tyrann Mathieu. We'll see if he plays this week. I think he will be out there. That makes a huge difference, right? And especially when you're playing a team in Cincinnati that has all these weapons. But we saw Gabe Davis of the Bills. He looked like the second coming of Randy Moss last week with 4 touchdowns. And Josh Allen, whenever he needed to play, he found him, right? So this week, they're going to try to do the same thing with Jamar Chase, of course, right? Jamar, he had a crazy game the first time these 2 teams met. He had 11 catches for 266 yards. So I recommend for the Chiefs, do not single cover him, please, or else he's going to expose you again. But if he's taken away, we're going to probably see T. Higgins or even Tyler Boyd have an impact similar to what Davis had. I just think, when I'm watching that game on the weekend, Tennessee, they had their way against the Bengals O-line. When I'm picking the Bengals, I'm hoping that they could at least protect Joe Burrow in this matchup. Look, Kansas City, they're not the best team in terms of pass rush. They're ranking in, I think they're the fourth worst team in terms of overall pass rushing on the year. But with that being said, if Burrow still doesn't have time back there, there's no way that he's going to manage to get the ball down the field. And they do rely a lot on the pass. And with that being said, I want them to run the ball more because Kansas City's defense, they have allowed 119 and a half rushing yards per game, okay, in these playoffs. So with that being said, use Joe Mixon. He hasn't really gotten the touches that he's seen during the regular season, right? And KC being last in defensive yards per game in terms of the pass. Like, there's so many things that allow me to believe and lead me to believe that the Bengals can make this a close game. I think it will be a similar shootout, like I said, to that Buffalo Bills one. And I will give the edge to Patrick Mahomes outright in a win because I do give them the edge in quarterback. And also I give the Chiefs edge in coaching. But overall, the KC defense and the secondary specifically, it hasn't been looking good at all as of late. And I'm just seeing Cincinnati being able to go in there, despite the fact they haven't really been operating on all levels, effectively in the wild card or in the divisional round. I think this is a spot against a defense that is kind of struggling to stop the bleeding. I think Cincinnati can make this very, very close. I see them winning by the Chiefs, that is, winning by less than a touchdown.
Yeah, that's the biggest reason why I'm also going with the Bengals here. I do not trust the Chiefs defense, and I do not think they'll be able to stop the Bengals offense. It's crazy how the Bengals won that game outright, and they were still able to move the ball down the field despite Joe Burrow being sacked 9 times. I don't think that's going to happen here. Hopefully that O-line can keep him upright, but you just said it, Jelani. The Chiefs don't necessarily have a good pass rush, so I think Burrow's going to have time to do his thing, and this is going to turn into a track meet. I think this is going to resemble that game we saw a couple weeks ago when the Chiefs did get out to an early lead, but the Bengals were resilient. They battled back. They had big plays. Look for that big chunk plays to be the difference in this one. I think even if the Bengals go down early, they're not a team that shows that they're afraid. They can easily come back with big chunk plays, obviously to T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, getting Mixon involved. And Burrow, we know he's a big-time quarterback. He continues to impress us in these big moments, in these big spotlight moments where he just has to put the team on his back and make throws needed, and he has shown us that. So the Chiefs, coming into this one, they're actually averaging 37.3 points per game over the last 7 games. They're 6-1 in those games. The one loss against the Bengals.
Right.
So this is a team that I think can keep up with the Chiefs and all they have to offer. And also, you look at the Bengals, they have been a pretty good team against the spread. They are a 12-7 against the spread this season. And the Chiefs, they haven't been quite successful. They enter this game 10-9 against the spread. So this is a team that has played in some close games. And again, it's because that defense has not shown that they can stop the opposing offense and the opposing quarterback. So I do like the Bengals to keep this one close. Ultimately, I do think the Chiefs win because you can never bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Never.
All right, just take last week, 13 seconds on the clock. Bills fans are already popping champagne thinking Super Bowl and all that and more. And what happened? He got them into field goal range and the rest is history. So I do trust Patrick Mahomes in a late game situation and Andy Reid being the X factor of being here so many times. So the Chiefs win the game, but the Bengals do make this one interesting. I think this is going to be an incredible matchup. Expect a lot of points. Expect an air show.
Yep.
And yeah, this should be a good game on Sunday.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at the Chiefs, and they are the home team. And with that being said, they barely lose at home, right? The last 8 AFC Championship games, by the way, the home team has won the last 7 times, or 7 out of those 8. So it's definitely giving you reason to take the Chiefs. I get it this week, but I just think this spread is probably a bit too large, just given the fact that the weapons are there for Cincinnati. And there's just a lot of inconsistency when we're looking at the defense from the Chiefs. And also Cincy, like you said, they're pretty good against the spread. They're 6-0 in their last 6 games against the spread. So they've been balling as of late. We'll see if Joe Burr can get it done. But let's move to the next game. we have the NFC Championship. This is a rivalry. We're seeing this again, the third time. Might be a charm, let's say, for the Rams. The Rams have not beat the San Francisco 49ers in a few years, actually. But can they get it done here, or will they at least cover?
I'm taking the Niners to cover. I think this is going to be another very close game. I'm going to take the field goal hook at +3.5. I love that I'm getting that extra half a point. I think that's going to be a big difference in this one. I expect a closely contested game, and this is going to be the third meeting between these two rivals, the second meeting in 3 weeks. And remember, the 49ers beat the Rams to get into the playoffs, and the Rams were up 17-0 in that game. It'd be funny if the Niners win this game outright, because the Rams literally could have eliminated the Niners, but they kept their hopes alive. And now the Niners are a win away from beating their rival and getting to a Super Bowl. The Rams love to run the ball in their zone scheme, but the Niners have run it better. So in the two games, they're getting an average of 87.5 yards more per game on the ground. And that's huge. If the 49ers can run the ball effectively, that opens it up for Jimmy G. Play action. It opens up those short passes that he loves to throw. That's going to take a lot of pressure off Garoppolo, who I think is at his best when he has the run game going and he can comfortably make plays out there. Whenever he tries to force stuff, it does not go well. Just take that example against the Packers. He tried to force one into the end zone and Green Bay intercepted it. And luckily for the 49ers defense, they're able to bail him out there. But I think this is going to be a game that's won in the trenches. The 49ers are going to be able to run the ball well, and the 49ers defense has been the best defense of these playoffs. I think their pass rush in particular is going to disrupt Matt Stafford. Last time out, the pass rush got to Stafford for 5 sacks and forced him into 2 interceptions. I can see them having similar success against Stafford. They know him well, and they've done it many times. And then the X factor in all of this, you touched on it, Jelani. I think it's going to be a psyche thing. The Rams cannot beat the 49ers. Shanahan has McVay's number. He is 7-3 against McVay's Rams since 2019. I don't know what it is, but they cannot beat the Niners. Shanahan has one-upped them every single time. That's going to be a big factor here. This one could go either way. I would not be surprised if the Rams do win on a late game field goal, but I would not be surprised either if the Niners keep this Cinderella story going and make it to the Super Bowl and win this game outright. So I will play conservative here. I will take the 49ers. I think they cover the +3.5. And yeah, don't be surprised if they can even win this game outright. I really like the Niners right now.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that one as well. I'm looking at the 49ers and I'm saying to myself, they could very well go to the Super Bowl because of the physicality on the defensive side of the ball and through the running game. And that's what's really disrupted and bothered the Rams in all these matchups over the past few years. And look, I think a lot of people, including myself, would love to see the Chiefs play the Rams in the Super Bowl. It would be fireworks and all that sort of thing. But I think the Super Bowl that we're actually going to see will feature the 49ers. They're playing the best football right now. People, when they enter the playoffs, right, everyone was saying the 49ers are the scariest team in football. I didn't believe them at the time, but look, I have to give them their due. They're playing great football. And look, what they have to do is do what they do best. Just don't really blitz, right? They're really good at sending 4, right? And look, specifically Matt Stafford, when he plays the 49ers, when they blitz him, he is sensational. He's 89% completion rate and 158.1 passer rating when they blitz him. But when you don't blitz him, he goes way down to only 60.9% completion rate and 61.3 passer rating. So that gives you reason to believe they'll disrupt him again, just sending 4, right? All their rushers, Armstead, you have Bosa on that defense. You have all these guys that can get there. I think that he's going to probably have a long day, especially if the Niners, if they could just start off, though, with a running game that's effective. We saw it against Dallas. We saw it against the Green Bay Packers. If they can manage to run the football with Mitchell and Samuel and really kill clock and manage the game in that way, then that gives them a better chance to get this done. Because if you start slow, let's say the Rams are the team that starts fast and scores points, gets points on the board, long drives, then you're going to have to put it in the hands of Jimmy Garoppolo. Although I like Jimmy Garoppolo, if this becomes a shootout, if this becomes a quarterback battle, I think 9 times out of 10, or maybe 10 times out of 10, everyone's going to take Matt Stafford. So the Niners, if you're placing your bet on them, you have to hope that this game starts in their favor, starts slow. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games as road underdogs. And this is not necessarily going to be a road game, is it? Because SoFi Stadium, look, the Niner faithful, they run deep. Okay, it might be really red in there on Sunday. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I give them the edge. You mentioned it. I give them the edge in terms of coaching just because Shanahan, he has the Shanahan plan against the Rams. He just manages to continue to expose Sean McVay's group, whether or not Sean McVay and the Rams have a lead like we saw in week 18, or if it's a close game, they always pull it out. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of Debo and Kittle. They both got banged up against the Packers, but they're full participants. They're ready to go. Give the ball to Debo Samuel. I mean, 6.4 yards per play with him on the field. That's a lot in terms of yardage. Again, the big representation in SoFi. It's gonna be interesting to see how the Rams come up here because they have Cooper Kupp, you have OBJ against a poor secondary, also Jefferson, right, and Higbee. So they have the weapons to get it done. But if Stafford, if he doesn't have time back there, then how are you going to get it to those guys, right? How are you going to expose that secondary? We saw it with the Packers. Green Bay, they didn't really hold up. They had stretches where Aaron Rodgers, he didn't have enough time to throw the football, and that's why he couldn't find his guys and really torch the secondary that's been really inconsistent for San Francisco. So LA being 5-3 overall and 4-4 against the spread at home, they aren't the best team against the spread at home. So I'm going to lean with the Niners here, but it could be a fantastic game. I'm just looking at Stafford, though. If it becomes a shootout with his 74% completion rate in the playoffs, I mean, it might be over for the Niners. But if the Niners could be more physical, run the football, bring 4, I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers for sure.
Yeah, we could see a rematch of the Super Bowl from a few years ago. Chiefs, Niners, that's looking like a strong possibility right now. I agree. I don't trust the Rams. Let's just say they get off to a big lead. They've blown leads before. They almost blew another lead last week against the Bucs. And then if the 49ers get out on top early, we know they can methodically beat you over the course of a game, running the football, making those short passes, moving the sticks, and their defense. That's a defense you do not want to go up against right now. So good luck, Matthew Stafford. All right, so we're actually on the same page with both of our picks. We'll see if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But it should be a great championship Sunday in the NFL. One more Sunday until the big game that is the Super Bowl 56. We'll see who meets there. But just to recap our picks, we got, I think there's an error there. That might have been my fault. But I do like the Bengals +7 along with Jelani +7. And we are both riding with the 49ers +3.5. So again, we're on the same page. We'll see if that's a good thing. And yeah, good luck with your picks if you do place any bets for Sunday. And we'll catch you all again next week or the week after for the Super Bowl show. We'll keep you posted on that. Have a good one, everybody. This is Spreadzies here on The Parlay.